Okay, so that's it for our presentation. Now we're going to go ahead and answer the questions that we have received so far. We'll go ahead and take turns answering the questions. The first question is, I am interested in the B2 license and have worked as a maintenance tech since 2015. I worked for 3 different companies during that time. Do I need a letter from employees from each of these companies? So what we are looking for is for you to prove 4 years of experience within the last 10. So if you, if one of those companies can certify your work experience for 4 years, that's fine. But if you need the different companies to do it, that's fine as well. You would just make copies of the work certification of a work experience form. You can make as many copies as you need to provide 48 months of work experience. So if one company can do it, then that's fine. But if you need all 3 to verify, then I would make copies of the form. Next question. Can a handyman with only self-employed experience qualify? FODE, can a handyman, if they only have self-employed experience, can they qualify for a license?
Yes, as long as you have someone who can certify you have observed your work, you can apply.
Next question. Can the exams be taken remote or virtually, or are they required to be taken in person at a lab? So we actually have test centers, as we mentioned, throughout California. And yes, you would have to come in person. They are on the computer. You'd have to come in person and take them. We do not offer them virtually at this time. Next question. Do you have any other information on the B2 license? Actually, right now on our website, if you go to our website, CSLB, www.cslb.ca.gov, and in our search engine, if you type in B2, yes, we have a lot of information. There was a memo that went out, and so you can find a lot of information on the B2 license right on our website. Next question. Is this information for the C33 license? I'm interested in a C33 license. Yes, this is the information that we provided is the same for all of our licenses. So yes, C33 qualifies. The process is the same for all of our licenses. Can a handyman with 5 years of self-employment qualify for the B2 license? So we talked about that a little bit. FODE mentioned that yes, that as long as you can verify your experience, you would be able to apply for a license. Next question is, where can I download this presentation? So again, if you go to our website, www.cslb.ca.gov, there is a banner at the top of the page, and you can download our presentation there. Would letters from past customers qualify for demonstrating work experience? FODE, can they use letters from past customers to qualify?
For the application, to process and approve the application, we need to see the experience on the certification of work experience. Now, because your customers only saw you for a limited amount, you would need many of those for your application. But if your application is selected for the 3%, for more information regarding your experience, in that point, when we communicate with you, it would be accepted, those letters. But for your initial application, we need your experience reflect on the certification of work experience, not letters.
Do you need multiple pages for different companies to certify your time? Okay, so initially, just like Bo just mentioned, initially when you submit your application, you're submitting your application and you are also submitting a certification of work experience. If you have one person, you select your certifier. If you have one certifier who can vouch for you for the full 4 years, then you only need that one certification. However, sometimes people work for different companies. Maybe somebody can vouch for 2 years, but you need somebody else to certify the other 2 years. So then that's when we say you want to make a copy of that form and have 2 different certifiers. Make sure that it's 48 different months. We don't want any overlapping time, but make sure that you have 48 months of experience within the last 10 years. That's what's needed to, that's what you need to, in order to qualify for a license. So at that time, you would need multiple if one person can do it. I hope that answers your question. I am the chairman of the Clark County Planning Commission. I work with land usage, planning, and building issues, and most importantly, with growth management. Could I use that as work experience? Fode, would that qualify him as for work experience?
But
Is
you
that
know,
what you meant?
it is
I'm
really,
sorry.
you hear me?
Yes, now I do, sorry.
Yeah. It is, it is very hard to get the details of in this forum. So what I recommend, please, Stephen, I will leave the name. Please send an email with the question to classifications@cslb.ca.gov, and they will break down for you and will let you know exactly what classification you will qualify for or you will need to perform those tasks.
Okay. And we wouldn't be able to tell you without having your work experience certificate in front of us. We need to know what duties you performed exactly. So once we see what duties were performed, then we can tell you how much credit they can give you. That's not something that we would be able to do beforehand. Next question says, my son works for a General B doing solar installation. He believes that his experience does not qualify for a contractor's license because he works for a General B. Is his belief accurate? Again, working for a B licensee, yes, you could still qualify for the solar license, which is our C46 license. It just depends what tasks you were doing. So what we would do is encourage you to have your the B contractor fill out the work experience certificate and be as complete and accurate as possible, letting us know what duties did you perform. And as we mentioned, we have a classification booklet available right on our website, and you can look at that classification booklet and see what duties a C46 solar licensee can do. And if those are duties that you are performing, make sure that you include that in the certification. Make sure that your certifier lets us know these are the duties that I have been performing, because those are the duties that CSLB considers critical duties for that classification. Yeah. Okay, next question. I have a master's degree in engineering management, a bachelor's in mechanical engineering. I've installed 2 ground mount solar systems under owner builder permits in Placer. Could this qualify me for a C46 license? So they have a bachelor's, an associate's degree, several degrees, folks. So how does that work when they have several degrees?
When you have several degrees, we only give you credit for the one that gets you the most. So any of those that give you the most based on the classification you apply, we give you that one. Now, as far as the second part of the questions, we do not accept owner builder experience for anything but B general building classification. So C46, we cannot accept owner builder project for C46 experience.
Okay, next question. I have had a business tax permit for 5 years. Does that help for obtaining my C33 license? So you would follow with the C33, it's going to be the same exact process. Remember that you're going to want to submit a certification of work experience and prove that you have 4 years of experience within the last 10 years. That's what we're looking for. Can I submit an examination waiver after I submit my original application? Oh, can they submit their waiver after submitting an application?
Well, we prefer it be submitted with the application. So during the application process, we can also verify whether the waiver request can be granted or not, because it would create problem for both applicants. If we set them up for exam and then they come ask for waivers, then it could create issues, delays, and whatnot. So we prefer to see it at the same time, submitted with the application.
Okay. Can you upgrade from the B2 to a general B in the future? So keep in mind that one license can have multiple classifications. So let's say you do start out with a B2, because let's say right now you don't have the framing experience. So you want to apply for the B2 license. Maybe because you meet those requirements. So you go ahead and apply for the B2. And let's say that for the next 4 years, you're going to be gaining experience in framing. So you could apply for the B2, and then once you have the experience needed for the B, you could apply for an additional classification. The way that works is you just submit an additional classification for application. You would come in to take the examination for the B classification, and then if you pass that, we would go ahead and add that classification to your license. Next question is the application same for the B and the B2 license? Yes, it's the same application. Next question. Hello, I have been a licensed building contractor in North Carolina for the past 4 years, and I am the qualifier. On page 4, question 17 asks if I'm licensed in another state, and I am. Do I still send my request of verification of license from my state? Fode, would you still need a verification of license from North Carolina?
We do not have reciprocity with North Carolina, so that will not actually, whether help or not help you. So, I wouldn't say don't go through the trouble. You can just check it. We can just check it from the website, but that does not give you reciprocity. So no need for that.
Okay, next question is, I worked for a licensed contractor for 6 years from 2000 to 2006. He gives his experience. Does any of this qualify as experience? So remember, we're looking for 4 years within the last 10 years. So you can go back to 2011, and anything from 2011 to now we would consider as experience credit. You just want to make sure that they are as detailed as possible. So if you have 4 years within the last 10 years, that's what we would take a look at. Not something back in 2000 to 2006. No, we would not look at that. Next question. We are a pest control company and have an employee with over 4 years of construction experience. Can he get a license under our company? Fode, how does that work? So if they're a pest company and they want to get a construction license, they have somebody who works for them and that has 4 years of experience.
Yeah, that would be actually your decision. So that person would qualify your license. So you can submit an application for the company, whether corporation, whatever the entity is, and that qualifier, that person who has the experience can qualify that license for that company. Yes.
Would experience as an energy efficiency technician qualify towards B license? So the B license has several requirements, one of them being the framing experience. I'm not sure exactly what you're doing as an energy efficiency technician. If you don't have structural framing experience, then you would not be able to qualify for the B license. You may want to look at the B2 license. That does not have the framing experience requirement. Next question. I worked for a general contractor from 2000. Okay, that one's already been answered. Does plumbing, heating, cooling contractors apprenticeship program count as 4-year experience? I am a handyman doing residential plumbing for more than 10 years. So you wouldn't get 4 years of experience for the apprenticeship program, no. But if you have, it looks like you have more than 10 years of handyman, you're going to have to, you can't just use the apprenticeship program for your experience. What you're going to want to do is find somebody who can certify that you have 4 years of experience within the last 10 years that can complete that form for you. So look over our work certification form and see if somebody can complete that for you, and be as detailed as possible in the duties that you perform. Next question, does part-time qualify for the work certification experience? So we mentioned that yes, there is a question on there asking, did you work full-time or did you work part-time? Just remember that if you worked part-time, you're only going to get 50% credit. So we would need 8 years of experience within the last 10 years. If you work for an owner builder, then what would you need? If you worked for an owner builder. I'm not sure what that question relates to. I'm thinking, what would you need to prove your experience?
May I
Go ahead,
interject here?
Yes, please.
Yeah. If you work for an owner builder and they pay you, so you become a self-employed. So they have hired you and you're self-employed working for them. So you have to document your experience as a self-employed.
Perfect. Am I able to use my time with the civil engineer I worked for as project manager? So does project manager gain you experience for being a project manager?
Project manager, we do not look at that one as acceptable experience. Acceptable experience would be whether you have performed the work or supervised employees perform. So you work for a company, you're supervising the employees of that company perform the work, or you perform the work for yourself. Coordinating with the subcontractors is not an acceptable experience.
How would a self-employed handyman contractor certify experience? Again, it's the same process for all licenses. You want to have somebody fill out that work certification certificate. We're looking for 4 years within the last 10 years. In the event that your application was selected for that further investigation, the background investigation, you want to make sure that you look at that document that we covered. There's a document on our website. It's called Acceptable Documentation that we would use to support your experience. So check it out. It does have a column that talks about self-employed. Next question. How long does it take to take the test from the day you submit your application? Assuming that you submitted your application recently, when would you be able to take the test, Fode?
Application exam right now, because of the COVID, we have a 8 weeks backlog. So by the time you begin your process, your application, and you set up for exam, you're looking at about 4 months time period from the time you submit the application and the time you see that the exam. Perfect.
Okay, I'm interested in the C-17 license. Other than the 2-page study guide, are there any other practice questions? So no, all that we offer, all that CSLB offers is that 2-page study guide. I know there are some schools that say that they can help you prepare for the examination. We are not affiliated with any of the schools. We don't give them our information or questions, so we're not sure where they're finding these questions from. So it may be that they help you, it may be that they're useless. We are not affiliated with them. So make sure that you're cautious when you're signing up for these schools. It's not necessary that you attend any of these schools. The only thing that CSLB provides is that 2-page study guide. Next question says, I perform project management and coordination for projects, obtaining approvals, performing management. Okay, so that one's been answered. We said that project management itself would not qualify. The next question, let's see. I have been attending school for my associate in architecture, and 2 semesters ago, I took code enforcement class and passed. Would that be used to qualify me for work experience? Fode, she's currently attending school.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you don't have a degree, we will look at the classes and we may give you some credits. But as far as the code enforcement class, we do not have anything credits for that one. But once you complete your associate in architecture, you'll definitely get credit for that.
Okay. The next question, does a California contractor license allow me to work anywhere in California? Yes, once you have a California contractor's license, it's good for all of the state of California. The next one is about the test date, already answered. We already answered that one. We're getting a lot of repeat questions. Let's see. My company is a corporation and would like to add an additional classification. if the application for additional classification section 9, there are 2 signatures required, the qualifying individual and the second signature needed by the listed officer that is currently on the CSLB website. Is the second. So there's 2, is she saying that there's 2 signature lines on the additional classification?
Yeah, if the qualifier is an RME, which is employee, we also need an officer's signature on that application. Yes.
But only if it's an RME, correct?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. This one is a continuation. It looks like I have performed roofing, plumbing, drywall, paint, some framing, and was a supervising project manager. I was on site for all inspections and full permit. Patricia, it looks like you're going to have to submit your application. So if you submit your application, be as detailed. You want to make sure that your certifier is as detailed as possible. If you have 4 years of experience doing all of the items that you list here, then you would be able to apply. But if it was, some was project managing and some was the actual hands-on, we're looking for 4 years of experience. So make sure that you have somebody who's able to certify them. Yeah. I applied about 4 years ago, paid the $400 fee, and submitted some invoices of work done. My license application was rejected. Can I get 1 customer to certify my work experience? Both, can 1 customer certify his work experience?
Yes.
So it can be 1 person. Next question, which schools are accredited by the licensing board? We, like we mentioned, we're not affiliated with any of the schools. Do you have any information on where to go to set up an LLC? So to set up an LLC, you're going to want to go to the Secretary of State. That's where you register. You can go to their website for more information. Okay, next question. Once an application has been submitted and approved, am I obligated to take my scheduled exam date? Or can I show up as a walk-in to Sacramento, assuming that exams are given on a daily basis? So can they just walk into Sacramento to take their examination?
Yes, they could.
Okay, so if you have a test date already, and you want to come in sooner, they can, but vote if only
It
if
depends on
there's
it depends on the availability, of course. So you take a chance of coming, and if you're full, we don't have any more seats available, we can't take you in. But usually there are cancellations, so we would take you in if we have empty seats.
Perfect. Can the person that certifies your form be from a different company? Yes. The person who certifies it does not have to be working for the same company that you work for. It can be a different company, yes. Okay, looks like that's the last question. All right, thank you. Thank you for your questions. So that's the time we have today for our workshop. If you have any other questions about your application, we encourage you to send an email to our licensing division. That's licensing@cslb.ca.gov. And it's listed there on the screen. If at some point you need to reschedule your exam, you can get that process started by sending an email to exams@cslb.ca.gov. We've also put together a list of resources available for women who are considering a career in construction. If you haven't already, be sure you download this presentation to get them. You can download the presentation again on our website, www.cslb.ca.gov, and go to the green banner that's at the top of our page. If you're watching the archived video on this workshop on our YouTube page, you'll find a link to our presentation down below.
We welcome your comments or topics for future webcasts. Just drop us an email to social@cslb.ca.gov. A special thanks to our licensing division and public affairs office for their help on this workshop. The Get Licensed to Build workshop is a copyrighted production of the California Contractor State Licensing Board. Thank you for watching.